It's out of the box here at Front End Audio. I'm Wes, and I'm happy to bring you the Universal Audio Apollo X8P Gen 2. That's right, the X series of audio interfaces from UA have been updated to the now Gen 2 version. There are a lot of awesome updates that we're going to talk about, but the first thing you probably have noticed is the color with the silver faceplate. And not much else has changed regarding the front of the unit, the way that it looks. A lot of what is different is in the conversion quality, as well as some really cool new features that we're about to talk about. Universal Audio's console application has gotten a nice facelift as well. Things are a lot more colorful, intuitive, easy to navigate, and we have some really nice features that you can now use in console. First, we have a really cool new feature called Assistive Auto Gain for effortless recording. This is going to allow you to mic up a drum kit, for example, and then have your performer play 10 seconds or so, and then what's happening is the Apollo X8P is now going to detect all of the dynamics and kind of compensate and find the perfect level sweet spot for each of your preamps. This also works for line inputs and high Z inputs as well. Another new feature that the Apollo Gen 2 interfaces have is called bass management. Now this is for subwoofer integration. This is going to allow you to hear all the low-end detail in your mixes. By just flipping this bass management feature on, you can now add a subwoofer to your monitor setup. And this is great for stereo 2.1 all the way to immersive 9.1.6 Atmos systems. And this is all happening in real time with DSP built into the Apollo. And then my favorite new feature for the Apollo Gen 2 interfaces is Apollo Monitor Correction, which is something that they've teamed up with Sound ID from SonarWorks to bring to Universal Audio users. So now you can use UA filters and do things like room correction for both your speakers, even your headphones now. You can do calibration for your headphones. This works with a subwoofer as well. And again, this is for stereo mixes all the way up to immersive. So now using the onboard DSP in your Apollo, you can use SonarWorks room correction. This is big because before we had to use a system-wide application if you used SonarWorks, or you had to have a plugin in your DAW. You don't have to do that anymore. It's all done within UA's console app. This Apollo X8P Gen 2 has 8 microphone preamps that double as line inputs. You also have 2 inputs here on the front of the unit for high Z input. So of course, if you're using those first 2 inputs on the front, they do take up slot 1. This is an 8 input and 8 output audio interface, plus 2 additional outputs for your studio monitors. The back features dB25 for line input and line output. As you can see, the input jacks on the back are combo jacks, so you can use 1/4 inch in here, but if you want to have your line inputs and outputs connected to, say, a patch bay, you want to have them separate and then have all of your mic lines plugged into the preamps, these dB25 ports are great for that. The only output jacks you do have on the back of the X8P are, of course, the TRS jacks for your studio monitors. All of your 8-line outputs are going to have to be used with that dB25 port. This particular interface does have word clock on the back, and this is a Thunderbolt audio interface. So you'll see 2 Thunderbolt ports here on the back. One, of course, goes from your interface to your Thunderbolt port on your computer. The other one can be used to daisy chain. Apollo interfaces can be daisy chained together. So say you have the new desktop version of the Apollo Gen 2. You have a Twin, or you have the X4. You can now hook these together, and then you can use your desktop one as your monitor controller, as well as adding more DSP to your setup, adding more inputs and outputs, and that's what that second Thunderbolt port is for. Also features ADAT in and output. This device is great. You can expand on this, or you can just use this as a standalone if you only need 8 channels of inputs and outputs. So there you have it. This is the Universal Audio X8P Gen 2 audio interface. They've also redone the X6, so now we have an X6 Gen 2 and we have an X8 Gen 2. More information on this, as well as all of the other Apollo Gen 2 interfaces at frontendaudio.com. If you have any questions about this or anything else from Universal Audio, give us a call, and be sure to check out frontendaudio.com for all the latest and greatest from Universal Audio and all your pro audio needs. I'm Wes, and we'll see you next time.